Welcome back, legends, to the channel. And if you're new here, you've just stepped into the rabbit hole. Hit that subscribe button and smash the like, because today, we are not just scratching the surface. We are digging. We are going deep. And what we're uncovering will change how you see everything. The internet has been buzzing. Headlines screaming. Tabloids speculating. Shocking truth behind Caryn Chandler and Matt's divorce. Revealed. Uncovered secrets. You've seen it. You've clicked it. But here's the thing, what if none of those articles have the real story? What if the shocking truth they're all talking about is just a carefully managed piece of a puzzle so massive, it's almost impossible to see the whole picture from where we're standing? This is a story about perception versus reality. About the narrative we're shown, and the whispers that exist just outside the frame. This isn't about taking sides. This is about following the trail of breadcrumbs. And trust me, it's a long, winding trail. So, grab your headphones, get comfortable, and whatever you do, do not look away. Because by the end of this, you're going to have questions. A lot of them. And this is only part one. Let's start with what everyone knows. The public timeline. The picture perfect, until it wasn't. On the surface, for years, we saw a partnership. A dynamic that seemed built on a shared history, on mutual respect, on building something from the ground up. We saw the public appearances. The collaborative projects. The image of a unit. But in the world of public figures, especially those who've built an empire on authenticity, the line between personal and professional isn't just blurred, it's often completely erased. Their relationship was their brand. Their interactions were content. Their life was a show. And when that's the case, every slight shift in tone, every missed event, every change in social media interaction, becomes a data point. A clue. And the clues, they started adding up long before any official announcement, didn't they? Think back. The interviews where the energy felt different. Not hostile, but distant. The projects where credit seemed to be framed in a new way. The subtle but distinct pivot in their individual public focuses. It was like watching two planets in the same solar system slowly, inexorably, adjusting their orbits. They were still in the same sky, but the gravitational pull was changing. The official statements, when they came, were masterclasses in diplomacy. Language of mutual respect, personal growth, and the desire for privacy during a difficult time. The standard script. And the public, for the most part, accepted it. Irreconcilable differences. The classic, catch-all term. It's neat. It's tidy. It closes the book. But what if the book was never meant to be closed? What if irreconcilable differences isn't an end, but a beginning? A starting point for understanding what truly happened behind closed doors, in boardrooms, in silent car rides home, and in the unspoken expectations that can build up over a decade? Let's talk about environment. Because context is everything. You don't just wake up one day and decide to dismantle a life you've built without immense, tectonic pressures building beneath the surface for years. Imagine living in a fishbowl. Now imagine that fishbowl is also your office, your creative studio, your financial livelihood, and the subject of millions of people's daily commentary. Every sigh is analyzed. Every expression is memed. Every success is public, and every failure is a trending topic. That's not just pressure, that's a psychological pressure cooker. Now, place a personal relationship inside that cooker. A relationship that is also a business partnership. A brand. An LLC. Suddenly, arguments aren't just about leaving the dishes in the sink. They're about branding strategy, revenue splits, creative direction, and public perception. A disagreement over a video concept isn't just a creative difference, it's a potential financial loss. A dispute over a public appearance isn't just about schedule, it's about maintaining a fragile public image. The lines vanish. Where does the business end and the marriage begin? When you go to sleep at night, are you talking to your partner, or your business associate? And what happens when those two roles want fundamentally different things? When one person's vision for the future of the brand diverges violently from the other's vision for the future of their life. This is the crucible. This is where irreconcilable differences are forged. Not in dramatic, screaming fights necessarily, but in the quiet, gnawing resentment of a business decision that feels like a personal betrayal. In the exhaustion of never, ever being able to turn off the performance. In the heartbreaking realization that the person you built it all with now sees you more as a key employee than a life partner. The weight of that world, it cracks foundations. And sometimes, those cracks start in places the public never gets to see. This is where we move from the known into the realm of informed speculation. The space between the lines. The whispers. I'm not talking about wild conspiracy theories. I'm talking about patterns. About the things that don't get said, but are screamed by absence. Let's look at the digital footprint. In the modern age, our social media is a heartbeat monitor for our lives. And when a public relationship shifts, that monitor shows arrhythmias. The gradual decrease of shared photos. The change in caption tone, from affectionate to formal. The shift from we to I. The likes that stop appearing on each other's posts. The follows of new, separate circles of people, lawyers? New business consultants? Therapists? Then, there are the peripheral players. The inner circle. The longtime friends, collaborators, and family members. Watch their behavior. Do they suddenly become very quiet when the topic arises? Do their interviews become meticulously vague? Do they start appearing exclusively with one party and not the other? These aren't accidents. They're strategic silences. And a strategic silence speaks volumes. And what about the business entities? The LLCs, the production companies, the trademarks. Public records, folks. They tell a story of their own. The filing of new trademarks under individual names. The dissolution of old joint business entities. The formation of new, separate companies. This is the unsexy, paperwork side of a breakup, and it's arguably the most telling. It's the legal and financial uncoupling, and it often happens on a parallel track to the emotional one. The timing of these filings, it's a map. A map that often leads you to the when long before the public why is ever revealed. We also have to consider the professional reinventions. In the aftermath, it's not uncommon to see a dramatic pivot. A new style. A new genre of content. A new business venture that seems completely detached from the old world. This isn't just moving on. This is often a scorched earth policy on the old identity. It's a statement, this is who I am now. Separately. Without that context. It's a reclaiming of self. And the more dramatic the pivot, the more you have to wonder about the constraints of the previous life. Now, here's where it gets really complex. In any high-profile separation, there is almost always a battle for the narrative. It's not fought in headlines initially, it's fought in whispers, in selective leaks, in the framing of stories by sources close to one side or the other. Think about the stories that have trickled out. The friend who says one person was blindsided. The insider who claims the other was impossible to work with. The source who hints at disagreements over core values or financial management. These aren't random. They are strategic communications. They are the opening salvos in a war to control public opinion, which directly impacts future business viability, brand deals, and audience loyalty. Who benefits from being seen as the wounded party? Who benefits from being seen as the strong, silent type moving forward? Who benefits from a narrative of amicable versus contentious? This is high-stakes chess, not checkers. Every interview, every social media post in the aftermath, is a move on that board. And this is crucial to understand, the shocking truth headline you click on, is often planted by one side of this unseen war. It's designed to shape your perception before the other side can counter. It's about securing the loyalty of the audience, which is the ultimate currency in their world. So, when you read a revealed story, you have to ask, who does this revelation help? Who does it hurt? And what is it distracting us from seeing? Because sometimes, the biggest secrets aren't about scandalous affairs or hidden crimes, they're about power, control, and the brutal, unglamorous business of dividing an empire. Let's pause for a second. Let's strip away the brands, the businesses, the public personas. At the center of this are two human beings. That's easy to forget when we're analyzing traffic patterns and trademark filings. They entered into this as individuals, with dreams, flaws, vulnerabilities, and a shared vision. They built something monumental together. They lived an incredibly unique and intensely pressurized life. They experienced the highest highs of public adoration and success, and the lowest lows of having every stumble magnified. The weight of that journey changes people. It has to. The person you are at 30, building a dream, is not the person you are at 40, managing the reality of that dream come true. People grow. They change. Sometimes, they grow together. And sometimes, they grow apart. It's a universal human story. The tragedy here is that their growing apart happens on a global stage, with billions of dollars and millions of opinions attached to it. The grief in a breakup like this isn't just for the relationship. It's for the shared identity. It's for the death of a future they once pictured. It's for the loss of a working partnership that was also a deep, personal history. That's a multifaceted loss. And navigating that grief while cameras are pointed at you, while business must go on, while you have to strategically manage the public's perception, that is a special kind of hell. So, amidst our digging for secrets, we cannot lose sight of that simple, painful truth. This is, at its core, a human story of a profound ending. The business drama is the shell. The personal evolution, and devastation, is the core. And that is exactly where we have to stop for today. Because we've just laid the groundwork. We've looked at the public facade, the pressure cooker environment, the digital whispers, the narrative war, and the human heart at the center of it all. But we have only just begun to scratch the surface. Because in part 2, we're going to connect the dots on a specific timeline that doesn't add up. We're going to look at the specific business moves that were the true telltale signs. We're going to analyze the first, crucial interviews they gave separately, and decode what was really being said between the lines. And we're going to explore a handful of specific, credible theories from industry insiders about the singular, pivotal moment that made the split inevitable, theories that have nothing to do with salacious gossip, and everything to do with business, legacy, and creative control. The rabbit hole goes so much deeper. If you're not subscribed, you need to do that right now. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because part 2 is dropping.